solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind in the darkness, all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. When these crime busters run, no victims left in vain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, hello, everybody. How is everybody doing this fine night? I was watching Trina Kay's closing arguments with Colby, Lori's son, Lori Bellow's son. Love to hear his commentary about his mother. Poor guy. I feel for him. But that's what I've been doing today. Hello, Noni. Good to see you. Good to see you. So let's go ahead and do our spotlight on the missing. We have Emma Jean Grace Begley, who's been missing since yesterday, guys. Last seen in Scott County, Virginia. She's 17 years old. She has black hair with green and purple tips. If anyone knows anything about where Emma Jean may be, about her disappearance, please call 911 or Scott County Police or Sheriff's Department. We need to bring our kids home. Don't forget about Jonathan Wang. Last seen March 30th, young 21-year-old autistic male. He is high functioning. He does respond to his name, but he doesn't know how to take care of himself. So if anybody knows anything, please call the Arlington PD or his father. The number's right there on the screen. His parents are really asking us to push his picture out there, guys. Let's not forget about Sebastian. We need to bring him home. It's been a year. He needs to come home to his daddy. He just does. He needs to come home. And Travis Decker, sounds like they've got a promising lead on him. So let's keep the search in our thoughts and prayers. He needs to be found and put behind bars for taking the lives of his three precious little girls, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. Never forget their names, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. So if anybody does see him, do not approach. Call 911 immediately. All right. Hello, Ginger Girl. Good to see you. I don't have to listen. Well, I'm going to go back and listen to Lori. Lori's closing statement because, it's it's good entertainment. Again, nobody should ever represent themselves. I don't know who you were watching it on, Ginger, but I was watching it on Colby's channel, her son. And when she was cross-examining the last guy that was on the stand, Colby's going, oh, shut up. Oh, do you know how stupid you sound? And that's his mom he's talking about, but he's over it. I mean, he is really over it, right? The judge has already interrupted her. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of objections during this. Did you hear that she actually, on her lunch hour, no, overnight, she wrote a letter that she's scared of the judge. I'm like, oh my gosh, that judge has been so patient with her. I mean, he really has been. It's crazy. She's scared of the judge. Whatever. Oh, yeah, yeah. So today we are going to continue our discussion on Jack and Lily. These poor kids. Um, they have to be brought home soon, guys. I just, you know, those little faces, it breaks my heart, right? It just breaks my heart. Um, but something that I wanted to share with you, and I actually learned it from Dylan's dad, Jason. He must have learned it going through probably therapy or something. And I knew there was a name for the loss that missing parents go through, but do you think I could remember it? And finally today, I just Googled it because and I found it. It's called ambiguous loss. And so ambiguous loss refers to a type of loss that occurs when there is a lack of clarity or closure regarding the absence of a loved one. It can manifest in two primary forms: when a person is physically absent but psychologically present, such as in cases of dementia, or when a person is physically present but emotionally absent, such as in cases of estrangement. This kind of loss can lead to, I think they've got that backwards, don't they? It should be psychologically absent but physically present, such as in cases of dementia, or when a person is um, emotionally absent but physically, or when a person is physically absent but emotionally present, I think is what it should say, such as in cases of estrangement. This kind of loss can lead to unresolved grief, complicating the grieving process and making it difficult for individuals to find emotional closure. Ambiguous loss. Yeah, I'm going to fix that. Change that around. Surprised that was, I knew what it meant, but anyway, so yeah, and that kind of loss, I mean, there's not, like it says here, there's no emotional closure. That's got to be very difficult when I think about Seth and Jason, Brandy, there's, you know, there's no emotional closure there. And that's got to be one of the hardest things a person can go through, you know, not knowing what happened to their child. Yeah, yeah. Seth has been very clear about how he feels, you know. But yeah, unresolved grief. It, and that there's a grieving process, right? And that kind of disrupts the whole grieving process because there's not a person to grieve for, right? So yeah, I can't even imagine what that's like. But I wanted to share by the way, guys, this is the correct Facebook, Nova Scotia. Sure you guys can see it all right. Yeah. And there was an update today. The Nova Scotia RCMP's intensive approach to the missing persons investigation into the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan continues. Before I really read the rest, I do want to just say I really appreciate the fact that the RCMP gives out updates, right? I really do, because we don't see that in Sebastian's case, do we? We just don't. And I really appreciate that. Even though they're putting it on their Facebook page, I don't care. I'll go to their Facebook page, I'll even subscribe, right? I'll follow whatever I got to do to make sure that I get the updates. They're giving out updates. I want to know about them, More than 11 Nova Scotia RCMP units are working on the missing persons investigation, some of which include the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, Pictou County District RCMP, Digital Forensic Services, Truth Verification Section. That's interesting, right? That's really interesting. I like that. Kind of like statement analysis, right? Legal Application Support Team, Police Dog Services, Underwater Recovery Team, Behavioral Sciences Group, and the Criminal Analysis Service. They are joined in their investigational efforts by the National Center of Missing Persons, Canadian Center for Child Protection, and provincial and municipal police agencies from Nova Scotia and other parts of Canada. The investigation is being led by a tenacious, committed group of investigators who are gathering and assessing information daily to learn more about the circumstances of Lilly and Jack's disappearance so we can find them, says Senior Sergeant Rob McCammon, officer in charge, acting Major Crime and Behavioral Sciences. All scenarios are being considered, and we've engaged every tool and resource at our disposal. The Nova Scotia RCMP would like to thank the public for all of the tips, information, and video footage that has been provided since Lilly and Jack went missing. With this support, investigators have collected hundreds of hours of video from the areas surrounding Lansdowne Station, including footage taken from along Gerlach Road between 12 p.m. on April 28th and 12 p.m. on May 2nd. Interesting. Which was the subject of a public appeal from the investigative team on May 28th. Hundreds of hours, guys. Remember they were asking for dash cam? They've collected hundreds of hours of dash cam footage. That's incredible. Formally interviewed 54 people, which has included the administration of polygraph to some of the individuals interviewed. Interesting. They're not saying who, but they are saying they did. Received 488 tips, many of which have been assessed and followed up on. Extensively searched the property from which the children went missing, including every aspect of the home, grounds, outbuildings, and nearby septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts. Guys, they're being very detailed here. They're telling us exactly what they did. We never hear that in the U.S., do we? Kudos, in my opinion, to RCMP. Been granted numerous judicial authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that may provide information useful to the investigation. So they actually seized some things. We're assessing, evaluating, and analyzing a significant volume of information from a variety of sources. We have a very coordinated and deliberate approach to make certain all information is meticulously scrutinized, prioritized, and actioned to ensure nothing is missing, says Corporal Sandy Matharo, investigation lead, Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit. We're committed to doing what is necessary to locate Lilly and Jack and advance the investigation, which may take longer than we all hoped. The information gathered thus far through the investigation, including the ground search and rescue efforts, has not identified new search areas. So at this time, it means that they're not going to be out there searching, guys. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Lilly and Jack is asked to call the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit at 902-896-5060. To remain anonymous, contact Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers toll-free at 1-800-222-TIPS. Submit a secure web tip at www.crimestoppers.ns.ca or use the P3 Tips app. There's a picture of those two. Somebody in comments on my post asked why the kids have things around their eyes. I don't know where these came from, guys, so I have no idea why that is on their face like that. I don't know. I didn't make these pictures, so I couldn't tell you. Let me see what we're all talking about here. All right. Yeah, it is grieving interrupted. Crazy, chaotic going on, Noni. Yep. That's exactly true, right, Noni? They're sharing information. They shared a lot of information right there. You know, I mean, they didn't give us anything that they shouldn't have, but they told us exactly what they were doing, didn't they? They were very detailed about what they searched, you know. I like that. Hello, Brenda Joe. Good to see you. That's a reflection from a cell phone. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Looks like they took a picture of a picture with a cell phone. Yeah. Somebody asked me that, and I'm like, I don't know where that's from. Everybody's showing it, and I I don't have a clue, right? I don't have a clue. So I know some of our American friends, we do have a lot of Canadian friends that visit us here since we started talking about Lily and Jack's case, and that's awesome. I was looking at stats and stuff today, and I realized that quite a few of our viewers are Canadian. So I want to thank all those that are coming in and listening. And of course, our resident Canadian here, Ginger. So I did want to, what I was going to say is that some of our American friends maybe don't understand exactly how RCMP works compared to the FBI, right? So I thought that I would do that, share a little bit of a video about the difference between TBI or FBI and RCMP. Just a short, this is a whole video, and the description or the link for this video is in the description of my video. So if you guys want to see the whole thing, you can. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm just going to show a part of it. So let's go ahead. Make sure you can see it okay. All right.
Major crime, you're probably interviewing 100 times more witness interviews than you are a suspect interview. And we don't focus on the training there. So I want to dig into that real quick just for our listeners, because when they hear RCMP or Royal Canadian Mounted Police, how could you explain how that correlates to what they would see in the US? What is that agency?
Wow. I don't know that you have anything like that in the US. And here's why is people often refer to the RCMP as the FBI North, meaning that they are the federal police force. But the FBI doesn't do many of the things, and this isn't a put down, it's just I'll show you the broad range that the RCMP covers. Yes, they do federal and serious crimes. They do things like that. They do international intelligence work. The problem is that they shouldn't say problem, but the part that spreads them thin is they also contract out to the provinces, so your equivalent of states, and to cities to do uniform police work.
Okay.
So they would say, like, my town, Maple Ridge in British Columbia, has a contract and has about 100 RCMP officers. doing what any police department would do. It's your local police department, but the city and the province have to pay the federal government to have us do that contract.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's something the FBI doesn't actually do. But many of the bigger cities across Canada aren't actually policed by the RCMP, and as far as the uniform patrol is concerned, it's actually their own municipal or provincial police.
So then when you were talking about your first exposure to interviewing, which was more a note-taking class, it seems
Yes.
like, but and again, I don't know current day what it might look like, but I can speak to a little bit of going through a police academy and
Yeah.
talking to some of our kind of followers that have gone through investigations training, and the amount of time spent.
Okay, so now they're talking about interviews and that kind of thing. But basically what I wanted you to hear about was the difference with RCMP. They do contract out to do police work, and then that province has to pay them, or those locals have to pay them for what they do. So other than that, they do the other things like the FBI does, right? So that's the biggest difference, I think. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about was I thought we would look at a video that Mike demanded, that he talked about what he felt Daniel was hiding. Okay. You know, do we think Daniel was hiding anything? I don't know. But I think, the best way to, I've done a lot of thinking over the past couple of days for sure, but probably the last week, and thinking about there is a difference, somebody being guilty or having guilty knowledge of something. Yeah, I agree. Does Lansdowne Station not have their own police department? Is that why, Ginger? I'm going to assume that might be why. But yeah, I mean, I was just kind of wondering about that. Like, we can say someone has guilty knowledge. That doesn't make them guilty. They may be feeling guilty about staying in bed when they should have gotten up, right? Because we've all said that. How come they weren't up? Why didn't they get up when they heard the kids by themselves? Truro police? Gotcha. But Truro is a ways away, isn't there? I mean, I don't know. Because the RCMP didn't, it was Truro police that worked on Dylan's case, right? They didn't work on Dylan's case. Now, I will say this, guys. Is there something that law enforcement could have done different in Jack and Lily's case? I don't know. But that's up to their department to figure out once the case is all said and done. I mean, they need to go through every day and be doing their best, forward, putting their best foot forward every day. And then when they're all done, and the case is over, they can look back on things, right? Sometimes the RCMP covers the countries while they're the counties, while the towns have their own. Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of like our town police force, like Hendersonville, and then Sumner County, right? You know, if you're police, and then you have your sheriff's department in the U.S., right? Which our sheriff's department usually cover the highways, county, you know, not the city. The city police cover the city. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I thought I'd try out this new feature. Somebody else needs to post besides Ginger. It's funny. All right. So let's go ahead and listen to what Mike has to say about if Daniel is, or what he's hiding, according to him.
Don't attack Malaya, because her mental health is, it's going to be reflected on her daughter. So I don't want anyone attacking Malaya anymore.
Well, if he said her daughter, yeah, that wouldn't be right, because our daughter would be correct. And this is his biological daughter. Jack and Lily are not his biological children. And one thing that we need to notice is that he doesn't take back anything that he has said. He doesn't say, leave her alone. She had nothing to do with this. This is something that I would expect if his statements.
He brings up a really good point there. He's telling everybody to leave Malaya alone, but then he's also kind of getting a dig at her about, her mental health could affect our daughter. If I was Malaya, I'd be seeing red big time. But he doesn't take back. I'm sorry for anything I said. He doesn't say that at all. He never has. Not once. Then when an accident happens at the city line, the city and county argue over who's going to handle it. Nobody wants to do that. That's true. That's very true. Hi, all. Hello, just me. Good to see you. I'm wondering if either Leah or Daniel gave permission for somebody to remove the kids. Abduction is when a minor is taken without permission from a parent or guardian. Makes me think one gave permission. I mean, that's always a possibility, except that evidently the police don't think so. Because if it was an abduction, they would have done an Amber Alert. So they still do not believe that there was an abduction, even after all this time. But, just like Ginger said, it's not like it hasn't crossed our minds, right? We've all wondered that. I see red flags, right? I see red flags in some of the things that Daniel is saying. We don't know that she had mental health problems. He said that. No one else has said that. So that's kind of hearsay, isn't it? I just don't know that, and we do know that bio dad's mom, the bio grandma on the dad's side, has said that Malaya was an excellent mother. And the only one that ever said that it's been all about Meadow has been Daniel and his cousin saying that. And I don't know how you guys feel about what the cousin said, but I really feel like she was just defending Daniel, which most cousins would. Right, Brenda Joe? Yeah, I mean, nobody knows anything about the bio dad, honestly. The bio grandma does not talk about him. No one has asked her about him, I don't think. And we just don't know, right? I mean, we really don't know anything about him. I guess early on he did give up his rights to his kids. So he just hasn't been in the picture. And no, we don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know how they left. We don't know anything. Hello, Kate. Good to see you. So you don't like the cousin, just me. Yeah. I don't know really anything about the cousin other than the fact that she really seemed to be really defending Daniel hard, very hard. Oh, yeah. If she only met Malaya the day the kids vanished, then how does she know that it's all about Meadow? See, that, yeah. That makes no sense. So that tells me that she's going by what Daniel has told her. See, I don't know. I don't think we can take what Daniel is saying as face value about Malaya. She's being quiet. We don't know anything. And you know what? The way that this case has gone, I think she's doing the right thing by staying silent. I honestly do. I know people want to hear from her. And I am, when everything is said and done, then she can be judged, guys, in a court of law if that's the case, or afterwards, right? When everything is said and done, that's the time to judge her. I'm not gonna now. She's being quiet. She's not retaliating. Guys, she has every reason to retaliate. I mean, think about it. If anybody said those things about your mental health to the public, wouldn't you be angry? I sure would be. We don't really know, Noni, because they're not talking. I mean, the only one talking is Logan, and I don't think she was around any of them. She had just met Malaya the day that they went missing, so I don't think she was ever around any of the kids either. You know? The things that she said about them having their own phones. Yeah. That's not, you know, who doesn't have, what couple nowadays doesn't have their own phones? I mean, just weird. Yeah, I think there is a definite division between the two families. Is it possible Logan is not Dee's cousin? I don't know. Is she a girlfriend? I don't know, guys. I really don't. When Logan said M and D had an open relationship, oh goodness, here we go again. I don't know. I didn't pick up on that. Um, you thought girlfriend? I mean, one of those flying monkeys. Yeah, well, and you're right, Kate. When you don't have anything to hide, I mean, I didn't care that my husband looked at my phone. But then again, I mean, if he would have looked at my phone, I don't think he ever did, honestly. And his was always laying around. I didn't look at his. If you trust someone, you don't care. And if I needed to call 911 and his was closer to me than mine was, I would have picked up his. It wouldn't have mattered, right? That's all I'm saying. But hello, Amy. Good to see you. Welcome in. And just me, I don't know. I don't know if they had an open relationship or not. I mean, do you really believe everything Logan says? Because I don't. Right? I mean, we can't pick and choose. Okay, so I already said my thoughts were that I felt like she was defending Daniel hard, very, very hard, to the nth degree, right? So anything said after that, I don't know that I could trust, honestly, which I'm sure isn't be popular, but I don't think that family should get involved, right? Because and I have said it before. I have said that when creators start talking to family of missing children, it creates problems. And it has in every single case I've seen, unless the creator can be professional and then let it go. Logan is a drama llama. Plugs my ears. It was a question, Amy, that I was asked, so I had to address it. But yeah. I was sitting here thinking today, or was it? I don't know. Anyway, yesterday, today, and talking about the riots and the protests going on, and how a curfew. Now, I'm not going to say what my thoughts are about the riots or the protests. Okay, just not going to go there. I'm not going to get into a discussion about that. But I bring it up to say this: that when a curfew is put in place and then you're supposed to go home by a certain time, what the heck ever happened to listening to authority figures? When your town mayor says 8:00, everybody has to leave downtown area. Now, it's not like everybody had to go home, or anything else. They just had to leave that 1 square mile radius of downtown. Right? But no. I mean, back in my day, I would have been scared to stand there and have the police arrest me for not leaving when I was supposed to. Is that just me? It's important to know if it could be jealous rival trying to rock the boat. Well, do we need to know that, just me? I mean, I'm just saying that could be a jealous rival, but is that something that we need to know? You know, law enforcement, maybe, because they're going to look into all that, right? You think that they're not listening? You know, guys, I know for a fact that they are, because Canada is very strict about harassment. So what are you laughing at, Kate? Are you laughing because I said I would go home at 8:00 if I was told to go home at 8:00? I'm a good girl. Oh my goodness. It Well, even if we were younger, when I was younger, I wouldn't have stood there. It's just oh, my just me comment. Oh, well, I mean, even when I was younger, if a cop said we had to leave, I would have left. I would have been afraid of getting put in jail. You have some brat left in you. No stealing things, though. Yeah. Or graffiti. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have, a problem with people wanting to make a statement, stand their ground, that kind of thing. But I think that if authorities are saying you have to go, time to go. Right? Yeah. But all right, we have some feisty people in here, huh? Yeah. Yeah, and there's no reason for that, right? And that those people that are stealing and doing the graffiti, it's not about the protest. Depends on what kind of mood I was in. Oh, I got some feisty women in here. All right, let's listen to more what Mike has to say.
Where purely out of, I don't know, spite, or do people accuse somebody out of anger, even though they know a person's innocent? Sure. I mean, JLR did it when, he had a falling out with Seth Rogers, that he suddenly went from being on the right track with the Proudfoots, naming Seth as a suspect, which I don't care if if he was ever officially a person of interest or a suspect. I don't care. Seth had nothing to do with that. Yes, so there are people who do this stuff. And I don't understand how I will express when I dislike anything that anybody is doing. It doesn't matter if it's Seth, it doesn't matter if it's a so-called creator, it makes no difference to me. But the one thing I will not do is make up lies. And that is something that I think is one of the lowest things that you can possibly do. I cut people out of my life. And I'm really good at that. Meaning, it's all if they have already passed on. But I'm not going to slander. I'm not going to. And if you're an investigative reporter, for example, how can you keep your credibility if simply because you don't like somebody, suddenly you claim this person had something to do with the crime? When you know he or she didn't. I don't get it. But here's the thing.
I agree with what he's saying about that. You know, if you're an investigative reporter, how can you, if you just because you don't like somebody, you know, claim that they have something to do with a crime? I agree. You know, and or just because you're friends with someone who doesn't like that person, right? Same thing. I totally agree with him. I think that he said one thing that he said a little earlier or just a little bit ago was that he won't lie. I get that. He's always going to say what he feels. Well, I think sometimes we have to be careful because just because thoughts come into our brain does not mean that those words should come out of our mouth, right? You know, I think we need to sometimes be careful about what we're saying. It is tough to stay unbiased. Yeah. It is. It really is. It's not an easy stance to take at all, right? Especially when you're seeing a lot of red flags go a certain way, right? You know, we have said that about Katie and Chris, how many red flags there were. Are they guilty, guys? I don't know. I know that there was a 3 a.m. car. There were flashlights. I know there were lights on in the back of the house. What were they doing at 3 a.m. on February 26, 2024? What were they doing? I don't know. Whatever it was, it's a red flag. Are they guilty? I don't know. But I do think they have guilty knowledge, right? You're guilty of speaking your mind, just me. Amy, you are too. My daughter is like that, but she has ADHD and she's always been that way. Whatever comes into her head comes out of her mouth. And as much as I tried to teach her that you can't do that, you're going to hurt people's feelings. You can, you got to be careful. Some things are just better left unsaid. Here's Granny over here with Grannyism, right? Some things are just better left unsaid. So yeah, I don't know. She still does it. So, you speak before you think. Yeah. You get tongue tied in person. Okay. Oh, Amy in writing. I can't tell you how many times over the last couple of days I've typed out a message, like on X, and then deleted it. Yeah. If it needs saying, you're the one. That's funny. That's funny. Now, I mean, that's not to say I won't stick up for myself or for somebody else, or, but I won't purposely try to hurt people. I mean, I've had to say difficult things at times, and it hasn't been fun, and it's, but it was warranted at the time, or maybe I had to share my thoughts because other thoughts were coming out, and I had a stake in the situation as well. So, sometimes the situation does call for that. As far as saying somebody's guilty or not guilty, all I can tell you is that I see red flags. I'm not going to condemn someone, because I think, Ginger, wasn't it you that said yesterday, I would hate to be condemning an innocent person and making their life worse when they've got a missing child, right? So you have a word blank page to type out stuff before considering posting. Yeah, exactly. And no send. Yes. Highlight, delete. Well, and Amy, one of the things I learned through Sebastian's case is that there are people watching chats, and they are, in Sebastian's case, for sure they are. They're watching chats, they're print screening, and they're taking people to court, even chatters. That's why I tell you guys always, if you're giving an opinion about someone or something, put IMO to save yourself, because that's scary. We're supposed to have free speech, but yet and at least I know, Canada doesn't like we do in America, but still. Good point, Neural, and good to see you. Judgment will always be served, if not in this life. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Very true. I hear you, just me. I think there are drama llamas in every case.
If Daniel had made up some stuff out of spite because he wanted to get a reaction out of Malaya, right? Maybe he wanted to just get a reaction out of her. And
that's a point we didn't think about. Was he trying to get a reaction out of Malaya about talking about her mental health? You've been kicked off of Twitter. You're not alone, Amy. I haven't been kicked off, but I know someone else who has. Mike is very smart. He's hard to listen to. That's why I do try to break it up as much as I can. Yeah, Logan's timing was too convenient for sure. But yeah, was was Daniel trying to get a rise out of Malaya? You know, because, you know, was he hurt that she blocked him? Right? You know, cut off all ties with him, blocked him, took him off her Facebook page and put herself as single. So now he's trying to get a rise out of her. Well, as far as we know, that didn't work, did it? But that's a good point that he brought up. I like that.
And her to call him and say, please stop talking about me. And then he could have, you know, used that opportunity to say, well, can I see you again? Or what? By the way, there has been a lot of speculation as to the validity. He should be able to get supervised visits with his daughter, right? Well, I'm not going to go into the speculations here, but I think it is very, very important for us to note that none of what he said in the text messages he's taking back. Nothing.
Hi, Bobby. No worries.
He's told us she is involved, and so is he.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside.
They're not the type of kids that... What were you going to say? They're not the type of kids that would wander off. I believe that's what she was going to say, because this sentence makes zero sense. They're not the kind of type of kids we tell them not to go outside on their own.
On their own. We always make sure that we're out there with.
This sentence makes no sense. Remember the Chris Proudfoot sentence about the bedroom of Sebastian never going to be slept in again? That's what he was going to say, I believe. But he said that never was empty, but it was empty every other weekend. So that's one part where Chris Proudfoot said something that made zero sense. What you do when a sentence doesn't make sense, you go back to the very beginning and you explore for alternate endings of the sentence. So in this particular case, they are not the type of kids that would wander off. I believe that's what she was going to say. But she changed it because she figured, nah, let's run with this one. Let's keep this possibility open. Because we have only the truth and we don't want to tell the truth. So we rather throw out some possibilities. This is one of many times that she is telling us these kids did not wander off. Even though on May 2nd, that is what she tried to sell to her former mother-in-law, the children's biological grandmother. That was exactly the scenario she was trying to sell. They wandered off. I guess as time went by, she realized that was going to be too hard of a sale. And if she's trying too hard to sell something like that, people will be suspicious and say, wait a minute, this makes no sense. Why is she trying to convince us of something that makes absolutely zero sense?
Not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their...
And also, well, let's move on.
their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And
if we're out there with them, watching them, she's doubling down on the good supervising parent, right? You see that?
She's doubling down. I sincerely hope they were out there watching them, because there were so many things that they could have gotten hurt of and hurt, or they could have gotten hurt by in that yard. When did the paternal grandma last see the kids? Like 2 years before that, they went missing. And I agree. I don't think they walked off either. That's my opinion. I just don't believe that they did. What happened to them? I don't know. It's kind of the same thing as what happened to Summer, what happened to Sebastian, Dylan. Kids just don't go poof, guys. They don't just poof out of midair. And yet these kids did. So what the heck, right? No scent. I mean, it really is something. So do statement peeps take into consideration a person's anxiety? I think that I'm not sure. I know in behavior analysis, they find a baseline for you, right? That they go off of. So they determine what your baseline is. But I don't know on statement analysis. That'd be a good question for deception detective. Well, he says he is. Right. Yeah. I mean, he says he is. I don't know. Typically, statement analysis and behavior analysis, people don't like each other. So for one to be talking about behavior is kind of odd, you know. I don't know. I think Malaya has P&D due to her comment on a pic of Lilly. She said she was slowly becoming photogenic. I don't know that we can take it by one comment, though, just me. Yeah, I mean, we do, right? And I think the older we get, the more we've learned from our experience, right? That there are things that we go through that help us, and if we've gotten any therapy, or if we've looked back and we've done any kind of I don't know, personal, what word do I want, inflection on ourselves, right? If we've done any reflecting of our behaviors and try to do better, that kind of thing, we learn from our experiences, and it does help us to be able to see maybe same behaviors, patterns, and things of people. Yeah, the searchers found no evidence in the woods, and that does defy logic. Those kids were not there. In the beginning, I have to say, I wondered if they weren't carried off into the woods and left there. But, right, Amy, the older I get, that happens. Yeah. So I think that not being able to find anything in the woods at all, I mean, I honestly, I hoped for some kind of resolution in the beginning. Now, with all the water references, I'm kind of wondering if what Greg Hartley said about embedded confession could be the case. You know, bothers me. I hate to think of those children never being able to be found, because when we talked about, I always have to look at it, ambiguous loss. You know, there's never an emotional closure there. And that's what I worry about for Jason, because it sure is seeming like they're not finding anything when they're searching. And I watched a video of the head searcher talking about looking for Dylan, right? And it's scary. It's just scary that they may never have a body, right? Or bodies in this case. And Ginger says, in my opinion, they were removed from the home. I don't know who or why. I want to see evidence. Yeah, me too. See, I don't believe they were trafficked, though. I really don't. And I don't say that lightly, Amy. The reason that I say that is because where they live. Right? Let's continue on.
We're always out there with them and then watching them in addition. So she's trying way too hard. And I believe that whatever happened to Jack and Lily was most likely a result of neglect. I believe when Daniel talked about her playing on her phone, may have been when something had happened to Jack and Lily kept coming into the room multiple times. And Malaya ignored it. I believe that.
Wow. I never thought about that. They said that Lily kept coming into the room. Did something happen with Jack and they ignored it? I mean, I'm open to all possibilities, guys. I really am. You know, I mean, did Jack choke on something? Right? Did they find some food? Jack choked. Lily was trying to tell them, and they kept telling her to get out of the room. I'm just saying. Can I show the list of who RCMP has working on the list again? Yes. Find where it says. Okay. The Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, Pictou County District RCMP. So Pictou County has got a contract with RCMP, Ginger. Digital Forensic Services. I like this one. Truth Verification Section. I don't know that we even have that in the United States. legal application support team, police dog services, underwater recovery team, behavioral sciences group. So they are looking at behavior, guys, and criminal analysis service. So they are looking at behavior and statements. And this probably has something to do with the polygraph as well. These two. Interesting, huh? Guys, RCMP has a lot more than what we know. That's right. She was calling her mother. At one accident and panic cover up. Yeah. Well, that's I see what you're saying, but we did know that they searched lakes and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? So and we saw pictures of them searching the river and stuff. So that isn't as surprising to me as the truth verification section. Whoa, right? Interesting, though. Yeah, very interesting. I think, they were so detailed in this update on their Facebook page that it's impressive to me. We didn't get that at all in Sumner County's investigation of Sebastian. Yeah, I agree with you, Amy. I think they have gone all out. I think they're doing an excellent job. Have they done things wrong? Maybe. I don't know, but I'm not going to worry about it because this page shows what they're looking at, what they've looked at, what they're looking at, and they've done more than one polygraph. It said that here. Where did it say? Formerly interviewed 54 people, which has included the administration of polygraph to some of the individuals interviewed. Didn't say a couple, it didn't say one, to some of the individuals interviewed. Makes me wonder who all got polygraphs. Yeah, find out about that one. Let me know. Because I don't think we have that in the States. I've never heard of that before, ever, till I saw it on here. When you showed Fun Day Granny and said no coming back with how the water works, gave me chills. Yeah. Yeah. The Bay of Fundy. That was sad. Yeah, I don't. It bothers me the fact that that's so close, Neural. You know, all they have to be there the right time and they'll get washed out to sea, right? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. It's this is so remote. It's, now Sebastian, yeah, I could see it. Even though I don't believe it happened, but I could see it. Yes, being this remote, it changes so many dynamics, doesn't it? It really does. And the fact that it's so close to the ocean, so close to the Bay of Fundy, exactly, Neural. He would know tides. He would know about the tides when they come and go. It was every 6 hours, wasn't it? So he would know that. I'm sure he's been on the Bay of Fundy fishing. I mean, what are the odds that he hasn't been? With all the fish pictures we've seen, what are the odds, right? That living an hour and a half away, he was there. He's been there. I don't know. All we can do is keep looking at what we don't know and see if we can find answers. There's been no new footage of Daniel. And if he does go silent the way he says he is, I don't know, guys, right? That could be rough. Yes, 55 feet high. Yep. Yep. Oh, RCMP also talked to the press. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, let's share this tab instead. Mounties used polygraph tests during some interviews in missing Nova Scotia children's case. RCMP officers investigating the disappearance of 2 Nova Scotia children say that some of the people interviewed by police for the case have taken lie detector tests. See, once again, some. To me, that means more than a couple. 4-year-old Jack Sullivan and 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan disappeared on May 2nd from their residence in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, about 60 kilometers east of Truro. The case has gripped the province, with hundreds of trained volunteers combing through the densely wooded area surrounding the family home. Search and rescue teams have been assisted by helicopters, drones, and thermal imaging devices. In a virtual news conference on Wednesday, the RCMP would not discuss results of the lie detector tests known as polygraphs or say how many of the 54 people interviewed by police had sat for one. Polygraphs measure the fluctuations of a person's nervous system as they answer questions in order to assess the truthfulness of responses. The Truth Verification Unit is engaged, Corporal Glami Tremblay told reporters, about one of several RCMP units assisting in the case. There's multiple facets to those investigations, and those experts are examining every question and answer that those individuals are providing, and it could guide the investigation. The Mounties have said that family members of the missing children are among those who have been interviewed by police. Daniel Martel, the children's guys, I cannot call him this. Daniel Martel, Malaya's partner, told the Canadian press on May 28th that he had sat for a lengthy interview with police and offered to take a polygraph. And he did not say this. He did not say, I passed my polygraph exam. This is false reporting, guys. This is false reporting because he didn't say that. His exact words were, I don't know if I can give the results of those tests, but we can say that it's good for me. Something like that. RCMP have declined to confirm or deny whether they gave Martel a polygraph. Thomas Merlo, a U.S.-based forensic consultant and expert on polygraphs, said in a recent interview that doubtful police would share the results with someone who had taken the test. Those tests are generally not admissible in court as evidence, but police continue to use them to guide investigations. It's doubtful police would share the results with someone who had taken the test. Huh. It's often used in a criminal case to screen out people. The polygraph is a great investigation tool, but that's all it is. It just provides you with some information to help you decide how much time or effort you want to put into a certain aspect or person in the case, he said. Merle said polygraphs measure changes to the sympathetic nervous system, which prepares the body for fight or flight responses. When you perceive a threat, whether it be a physical or a psychological threat, your sympathetic nervous system takes over your body to prepare you to fight or run away from that threat. That's what the polygraph is measuring, he explained. Meanwhile, Tremblay said the police recently searched every aspect of the trailer where the missing children lived with their mother, her partner, and the couple's infant. Police also searched outbuildings on the property and nearby septic systems, wells, culverts, and 4 abandoned mine shafts. He didn't comment on whether searchers found evidence relevant to the investigation. Whoa. In a news release, the Mounties said Wednesday they've been granted judicial authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that could potentially help their investigation. A court official said all of the documents are sealed. Whoa. The RCMP say at least 11 units are working on the case, including the Major Crime Unit, Forensic Services, the Truth Verification Section, there it is again, Police Dog Services, and Behavioral Sciences Group. Tremblay said the Mounties are encouraging people to come forward with more information, added they've received 488 tips to date. We're making sure that nothing is missed. We're committed to doing what is necessary to locate Lilly and Jack, which may take longer than we had all hoped. This report by the Canadian Press was first published June 11, 2025. Wow. Interesting. Truth verification peeps are the one who evaluate the polygraphs. Yeah. So let me see. Is it true Daniel said he was done looking for the kids? I don't think he outright said that, but I think he said we've searched everywhere we could possibly search. Well, isn't that what a polygraph we just read? That's kind of what they're doing there. More red flags for Daniel. I agree. Dr. Todd Grandy hates them. Well, and in truth, Amy, they can be tricked. People can trick them. Yeah. Sealing the information is serious. Remember, they sealed everything in the Brian Koberger case. Yeah, it sounds like a few didn't want to turn over their phones. I wonder who that is. Brother, Daniel's mother. I mean, I don't know. If you have a different sympathetic system due to organic differences, i.e. amygdala, I don't know how to say that, the polygraph is useless. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point, Neryl. There's, and I've also heard, somebody said in Sebastian's case, the painkillers, can numb you, make you feel like, can affect that so that you're not doing the fight or flight response. And to let you pass it. But that's interesting how he said that they usually do not give the results. So maybe Daniel didn't know his results, and that's why he said that, thought that he got a few right, and simpler term, psychopathy. Yeah. So you want to take one just to see, huh? It would be interesting, wouldn't it? Anti-anxiety meds. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. That's probably what it was, Ginger. But then in those cases, do they do blood work to make sure that people didn't take an anti-anxiety medication? I mean, right? I don't know. Well, yeah, people say they know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some police do. I don't know. Maybe it's Canada that they don't tell you. I mean, things are different in Canada than they are in the States. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't surprise me. Blood work might need a warrant. Yeah. Maybe they just ask you, have you taken any medication? And of course, somebody who's trying to pass the test is not going to say that they took an anti-anxiety medication. Well, maybe she got her results for that reason. I mean, I don't know. I know that Seth took one with Nancy, and Nancy gave the results on air, right? But yeah, pee in a cup. Yuck. Anyway, I'm with Amy. I think it'd be kind of fun to do one, but not if I'm being accused of something. just for fun, right? You know, where we could tell a lie just to see if it works, right? That would be fun. Yeah, this statement by the RCMP makes Daniel look a bit foolish. It does. I am disappointed. Who is the Canadian Press? I am a little disappointed because Daniel never said I passed my polygraph exam. He never said that. He never used those words. So it's false reporting right there. Yeah, for entertainment. It'd be fun, wouldn't it? Just for entertainment. Tell a lie and watch it go crazy. Or wonder why it's not going crazy. Oh. You know, I would think because it goes up high and down low. I mean, doesn't it? It's like kind of like an EKG. So if you're lying, kind of goes off the charts, right? I would think. So I don't know. You kind of know how you're doing, right? You kind of know, unless they do it on a computer now, don't they? So then you can't see what it's doing. I don't know. Anyway, it'd be fun. Yeah. Let's put it this way. Even if Daniel said he passed, if he came straight out and said he passed, are you going to believe him? And I certainly don't believe Logan at this point. But I mean, people see what they want to see. They take a statement like that. Well, I don't know if I can give you the results, but let's just say it looks good. It was good for me. And they say they see what they want to see. Oh, he said he passed. No, that's because, yeah, and that's the thing. We have all learned here at Granny's Crime Busters that words are important. We've watched enough statement analysis to know that now, haven't we? We're getting pretty good at picking up on it. And I like that we are, right? It means we're learning and we're growing. So people who have guilty knowledge are not going to pull one over on us, are they? Not too easily, anyway. You know, so, you know, does Malaya have guilty knowledge? I don't know. There were some red flags. I'm not sure. She did use water references, though. Daniel, a lot of red flags, in my opinion. A lot. And he's too laid back. That's the word I want. Laid back. Emotionless. I mean, even Greg Hartley didn't believe him when he tried to cry on that one of those first interviews. You know. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him, other than I think there's a lot to look at, and I am seriously wondering. Mike pointed it out. Did something happen to Jack? That's why Lilly kept coming into the room, only to be told, go back. I mean, what happened? What happened? I'm just curious. You want to know why he was denied access to his child? They're not going to tell us, Ginger. That's private information. They're not going to tell us. It's kind of odd, though, that he's cleaning up the yard and everything. I don't know. I don't know. It's a mystery. Mystery creates wonder, and wonder is the basis of man's desire to understand. Neil Armstrong said that. Neil Armstrong wasn't he the first man on the moon? But it's true, right? When we have a mystery, we want to understand. And missing persons cases are mysteries. And everybody comes together because we want to understand, right? We want to understand what happened to these children. Cold hard evidence, forensics, DNA analysis of behavior, and IT data plus dogs I look for. Gotcha. Yeah, it's all good stuff. So, what, Amy? We never went to the moon. Well, I'm glad you're not a flat earther. But you don't believe we went to the moon. I guess that's your opinion. It's news to me, though. But yeah, cold hard evidence. But we're not going to see evidence, Neuro. Not until charges are laid and they're in court. Somebody's in court for something, right? I really wish the behavior panel would do something, but maybe they were waiting for Malaya to come out with something, and she hasn't. I don't think she's going to. Yeah, it's going to take a long time to get it off for sure. And even they said, in that article, it's going to take longer than they wanted it to take because they, it'd be nice if you could wrap it up in a nice little bow and somebody confessed, right? But one thing that we have been seeing in these cases, Summerwells, Dylan, Sebastian and Lily and Jack, nobody's confessing to anything, right? And so and they know that by being silent it's harder to catch them, right? Obviously. But there is one judge that they will have to answer to someday, and that's my belief. You know, if they don't face their judgment here on earth, those that are responsible, they'll face it at some point. Don't bother asking, hey Google, about truth verification team. You know, they're not always right. It's like when we were playing the game during our members live. Was it the word? I don't remember what word it was. And I was hesitant to put it in because it seemed like it should have been EY, and that wouldn't of course fit. So it had to be just a Y at the end. And Brenda did Hey Siri, and Siri said, no, that's not a word. Scaly, you remember? That's right. And see, I thought it should have been EY. And Brenda said, nope. Siri says it's not a word. And then I finally Googled it and it said it was a word. So I put it in and we won. Funny that I couldn't remember that. Good for you, Noni. You got a good memory. Maybe you need to, Ginger, maybe you need to put Canada's truth verification team. Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it, Neural? We had fun that day. That is a hard game. That's a really hard game. We'll probably play it again on our next one, maybe. Just have some fun. So that's all I really had for tonight, guys. I like the idea of mystery being our desire to understand, right? Mystery creates wonder, and wonder is the basis of man's desire to understand. And we all are wondering, aren't we? What happened to Jack and Lily? What happened to Sebastian? What happened to Summer? What happened to Dylan? And all the rest. Michael. I don't speak to any of them. I type it in. I've never gotten used to it. I have an iPhone. I just never use it. And I can't stand using my phone for things. I only use it at the doctor's office if I have to sit there and wait. Understanding a subject I speak about all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I like my computer. It's big and it's and then next is my iPad, right? But yeah. Getting your old manual typewriter out. When I was young, I don't know, I must have been in high school, I think. I wanted a typewriter for Christmas. My mom got me a charm bracelet with a typewriter charm. You have some great arguments with Hey Google. Oh, goodness. That's funny. I don't even know if I have anything like that on my computer or not. I know my phone does, but I don't know if my computer does or not. It's a new computer, so I'm not sure. Alexa gets annoyed with you when you ask her ridiculous questions. Does she get angry? Does her voice change? Do you like Siri? Artificial intelligence is artificial and does tell fibs. What does she ask you when you ask Alexa, do you like Siri? What does she say? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to have to try it now. Oh, poor Lacey's going to think I'm nuts. Oh, man. I've seen those memes where somebody calls Siri Alexa, and then she gets all mad. Knock it off. You're just making me laugh more, Amy. She's learned to be diplomatic and doesn't get angry. Oh my goodness. I guess we all needed a laugh tonight. Oh. Well, so that's all I've got, guys. I'm going to go play with Siri. Let's see if I can make her mad. I wonder what it'll take. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for being here. Hit the like button on your way out if you wouldn't mind. I appreciate it so much. And everybody have a great night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.